I got an amazing question from someone I'm connected with online today, and it inspired me to not only answer it there, but to also come over here and answer it as well. And the question that she asked is, how do you embrace your authenticity? And I love this question so much because authenticity is a major value of mine. It's something that I really prioritize, not only in my brand and the way that I show up, but also in the suggestions and in the support that I give my clients. A struggle that I see in this online space in general is I see so many copycat coaches in the sense that they see someone that has a podcast, they want a podcast. They see someone that has a YouTube channel, now they feel like they have a YouTube channel. They see that this brand is a certain color and they feel like they need to have their brand match that same color. And so instead of getting a YouTube channel or a podcast or a branded color in a certain theme, because they want to, they do it because they feel like so many other people have it and they want to keep up with the Joneses. But here's the truth. It actually requires more energy to be someone you're not than it does to just simply be yourself. So today I want to talk about how you can begin to embrace your authenticity and the way in which this can truly change your entire life. So the first step may be kind of the most difficult, but it's the most insightful and probably most impactful to really begin to embrace your authenticity. And that is stripping yourself of all of your accolades, all of your applauses, all of your awards, all of the things that you feel like define who you are, all of your titles. So let's say that you're a mom. Who are you without being a mom? Let's say you're a wife. Who are you without being a wife? Who are you without being a coach? Who are you without being a student or an employee? Who are you at the core? And for me, when I did this, I really dug deep and I, came back to my Christian faith and remembered I'm made in God's image, right? So I'm loved. I'm loved. And this was so valuable because what I learned through stripping myself of all of these things, all of these external things that we focus on, is I realized that the core that I needed to solidify who I was, because then it didn't matter what applause, award, or accolades I was receiving, I still get to be loved. I still get to be made in God's image. So considering that, who are you at the core? I would challenge you to take some time to really reflect deeply on this and journal this out and process it. It is so powerful. The second step to really be able to embrace your authenticity is to identify your values. Really start to think about what are the most important things to you. So, for example, if you're a coach in this online space and a value of yours is time freedom, how are you incorporating that into your business? How are you incorporating that into your life? When you identify your values and you begin to incorporate them into your actions, you begin to keep your priorities straight and you begin to align your life with your business and with your brand. There's this idea that we have to have this like work-life balance. But what if we prioritize a work-life integration by prioritizing our values and weaving them into every single aspect of our lives? If you notice in my brand, family is very important to me. So I'll put my kids on YouTube videos and reels. Time freedom is important to me. So I'm not afraid to hire and bring people in to support me. Making sure that I also am authentic is important to me. So I'll show up, funny enough, no matter what I look like. It's interesting because for a long time, I watched all of these coaches show up with like fancy outfits and the perfect background and all of these things. And then one day I just happened to have a really, really tight schedule. And so I went live and I had just got done running. So I was sweating and my hair was out of place and I wasn't coordinated. And I just spoke from my heart. And that, to this day, was probably one of my most shared lives. And from there, I stopped being afraid to go live if things weren't perfect, if I didn't have the right thing to say, if I didn't have on the right outfit or the right background. I just started to speak. Same thing with my podcast. I didn't have this thorough script. I value just your processing, just your authentic self, not something that needs to be perfect. But it took me a long time to be able to embrace that thing. And so I want you to start thinking about your values and how you can begin to weave those into the way that you show up and into your life wholly, fully, and across the board. With that, one of the things that I've also really prioritized to embrace that authenticity online specifically is focusing on connection instead of impression. And so that's why I'm not afraid to show up in unique spaces and say things that are crazy, because I'm focusing on that deep connection, which is going to last far longer than your ability to impress anyone. The next step is to tune in to your intuition. Your intuition is your guidance system. It is showing you where you are being pulled towards, where you're being drawn, and it's showing you what's deeply desired by you. And I am a firm believer that what's desired by you is also available to you as well. So allow yourself to connect with your intuition. Tune into what feels right for you. Tune into what feels true for you. And sometimes connecting to your intuition, a lot of times it requires you to turn off the noise around you. So one thing that I prioritize to really tune into my intuition is when I first wake up in the morning, I pray, I tap, and then I'm still. I do also add in gratitude, but I do not run to my phone. I don't run to social media. I don't run to emails. I don't even run to my coach right away. I just tune in to what feels right. And it always lights me up to see what my intuition is drawing me towards. It always inspires me to see what I'm being pulled towards. It always inspires me to see what intuitive ideas are being dropped into my spirit, which really, really, really inspires me to take the next step, which is to be willing to take risks. You have to be courageous enough to take risks. The truth is, when we are moving towards new things, and part of that process is really fully stepping into who we're called to be able to effectively align with our purpose, we have to be comfortable and courageous enough to take risks. This is pivotal and so important. I cannot stress enough how important it is. And so what I want to challenge you to do is I want to challenge you to tune in and start determining how you can take risks that are aligned with where it is that you want to be. How you can take risks that prioritize your values and your vision. How you can take risks that help you to really embrace your authentic self. Now, if that step scared you, I have good news. It doesn't need to be you jumping from point A to point Z overnight. A risk could look like you going from point A to point B. Right? It could be, for example, let's say, instead of, going from thinking about starting your business to quitting your job overnight, it could be that you say, you know what, I'm really ready to start this business and I'm going to start showing up online every day in lives, even though I feel really, really scared. You know what, today I'm going to do my first story post. You know what, today I am going to share something that I have to offer that people can work with me on, even though I'm not sure how other people will receive me. You know what, today I am going to start creating my website, or whatever it may be. It doesn't need to be this massive step, because here's what I've learned. Little, small, sometimes even seemingly meaningless steps in the direction of your dream add up, and they build that momentum. And before you know it, you're even closer to your vision than you could have even imagined. So how can you begin to incorporate aligned, not random, but aligned risks with your vision and embracing your authenticity? So as you begin to compile and add all of these steps together to really begin to embrace your authenticity, one of the most important things that you can do is to celebrate you. All right. There's a quote that I love that says, if there were more than one of you, you wouldn't be needed. Hence why you are exactly you. You are not anyone different. And that's on purpose and for a purpose. And so I want you to really think about how you can begin to celebrate every aspect of yourself: the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the failures, the setbacks, the successes, and the wins. And I want you to really consider how you can begin to cultivate that genuine self-love. The more you begin to work through this process and through these steps, it'll start to feel natural, because you'll start to see the parts of you that are different, but you'll start to learn to leverage those. And you'll start to see why those are actually a foolproof formula for you to really stand out in this space, for you to really be able to have the tools to move toward your vision, to move toward your purpose. And through this journey, you'll start to fall in love with who you truly are. You'll start to feel so at peace with yourself, and you'll start to be able to actively celebrate your uniqueness, your flaws, your positive qualities, and your perfect imperfections. So I hope that these strategies, I trust that these strategies have really supported you at starting to understand how you can begin to embrace your authenticity. One piece of advice that I want to give you on this journey is to be patient with yourself. Because just because I share the story of me embracing my authenticity and going live and looking halfway crazy 3 years ago doesn't mean that there's still times today that I don't struggle with wanting to hide different parts of myself. Now, the difference is I'm just more intentional about making sure that that doesn't happen. And sometimes that forces me out of my comfort zone. Sometimes that requires me to take risks. Sometimes that requires me to do things that feel a little bit scary or a little bit intimidating. But I'm very intentional about prioritizing that. And that has helped me to not only show myself grace on the journey, but it has helped me to recommit to embracing my authenticity. Because you see, it's not a one and done. It's not that you wake up this morning, check out this video, check out this podcast and say, all right, I'm ready to be authentic and I'm going to follow these steps and I'm done. It's a daily commitment. And the shift and the transformation takes place when you repeatedly commit to it. So I challenge you to take some time to determine how you can be committed to embracing your authentic self. Your future self will be so grateful that you did.